We are going live.
I was trying to do the drum roll. Obviously, didn't work.
Yes, yes. Okay, we are live now. There are gonna be a few seconds that we are gonna be doubling, but we are here, and I'm super duper excited. This is our seventh live
Is it
Q&A.
really?
Oh my God,
Wow.
I'm so excited for our comeback. I really miss these lives. And yeah, so I give you the stage to introduce yourself.
Thank you so much. So, hello, everybody. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Snezana. I'm an executive coach and a leadership trainer. And I also have a tiny podcast that's called Growth Talks Podcast. And then I also do some speaking here and there. That's
Mm.
about it in a nutshell.
Oh my God, you girl are thriving. And I think none of the things you do were mentioned. I mean, you're such a rock star. You are thriving. I'm so proud of you.
Thank
And
you so much. Well, I just wanted to keep it, short, but
yes.
sure, we can expand the bio next time.
I just when I was hearing you and knowing your story and your growth, I realized that we use, but it's normal. This is, we're supposed to do it. We use titles and things like that, but the behind of the scenes growth, and it's what happens actually to businesses. It's, it's beyond that, isn't
Absolutely, I agree. I agree. I
it?
think that's partly why we're talking about the stress and success
Yes,
today and how
yes,
to balance it out. I completely agree. Yes. So what we see on the front end, so to
yes,
speak, is a very polished version of two
yes.
sentences. But I agree. As being a coach, I'm also an
Mm,
entrepreneur. I got certified, so all of that took time, and then building the business takes time, as probably, well,
mm,
and then probably some of the people who are watching know too. But
yes.
I also wanted to give you the stage to share
Oh,
a little bit about
thank you.
yourself.
Thank you. Thank you. My name is Christina Michailidou. I am from the sunny Cyprus, still sunny. Don't get confused with the blazer. It's just a light one. It's still really hot here. I'm a life and business coach, also an author, multi-business owner, and also trainer, mentor, and yeah, that's from me. And currently, I'm in a really productive era. I have been working on so many new things in the background, and I just so excited about it. But I think let's not further, with not any further ado, let's start
Yeah.
with our questions.
Sure,
Uh,
let's dig in.
Hi, Elisa. So excited to hear from you also. I met Elisa because I saw her comment. That's why I was
Yeah,
just
I figured.
jump on it. Um, and I met her. We connected actually due this life, and
Nice.
and another reason that I'm so excited for doing is like regularly is because you meet so many people and you change, ideas, perspective, and is so valuable. One introduction to someone that is new to our lives. I will be reading your questions as exactly as they came.
Mhm.
So allow me. So,
And just so the guys who are watching know, if you have any questions in the meantime, feel
oh
free to
yeah,
send it in. And,
that's
you
also.
know, there may be a little bit of a delay in between you typing and us seeing it, but we're going to definitely try to answer all of your
Yes.
questions live. And if we don't manage to answer some, either the ones that you sent before or the ones that you're sending right now, we'll definitely reach out and share that answer. So rest assured that we will address it all.
Yes. Okay. So we are
All right, let's
starting
do it.
strong. We have lots of questions on this live, so buckle up.
Let's do it. Let's do it. I'm ready. I got my coffee, I got my water, so we're good to go.
Remember on this live that I was choking because I was out of words here, so I fill it up and I'm ready.
Good.
Anyway, so the first one is how to deal with the stress of success. I mean, how to manage the stress around success whenever is the pressure to achieve it and then maintain it or the fear of losing it. Love this one.
Mm, that's a tough one. I mean, I know I feel it sometimes, so
Mm,
I completely understand and I can resonate with it.
mm.
Um,
Can I jump
do
on?
you, yeah, yeah, I was gonna say, do you want me to go or do you want to start? Go for it.
Um, as someone that I started several business and I have seen businesses fail, businesses thriving, business thriving without doing anything, that is not such thing. Your name, you are your brand, you are your business. So it's not such thing. And I think, success is so defined and not defined, it has so many levels of success. And the first thing on this question and what I always say about success is something we usually define as the end goal. Like it need to be the X amount of revenue, the X amount of Z and X and things like that. And one of the reasons that I published my book about our daily wins, because success is kind of an everyday thing we um we experience, we learn, we fail, we grow, and it's all part of the process. So it's all about success. And I think in order to manage the stress is to give us a bit of grace and acknowledge our wins, because we tend to focus only on the end result. And I think one of the biggest tools that I suggest to everyone is to acknowledge your progress. Acknowledge that every time you fail is another huge business asset you are gaining for your business, because you next in the future you will leverage, let's say in quotes, that failure and save you tons of time, tons of resources. We are not ending. It's not that you might be, building only one business, and that's more than great. But the business has so many levels, has so many growth. It's like a child that is growing. Every baby has their milestones, from newborn to toddlers to to everything. So it's exactly like that is the business. So I think managing the stress is first of all acknowledging that we have so many stages to go through, and acknowledge that we are doing great. We are doing our best. We are so unique. And sometimes stop the comparison with others, because you cannot be others. You are you. You have your values, your perspectives. And yeah, I think I expanded a lot, but anyway, what do you want to add there?
No, no, I think you started really well. What I wanted to share kind of
Mm,
aligns with what you said because I
mm,
also agree that acknowledging those small steps, acknowledging your small wins is really important as we're growing a business or developing in a role, depending on what you do. I
mm,
think another thing that I would add to it that kind of ties into the small wins is developing growth mindset because
mm.
that allows us to see
Yes.
our failures, our mistakes, whatever progress we make as a lesson learned. So we're always asking, okay, so this didn't work. Why not? What can I do better?
Mm,
What am I learning from this? And as such, the failure, look, it can hurt. The failure can be big. You may be planning to
yes.
launch a course and it doesn't work. Like you and I were working on the Mindset 360 group coaching and the course,
Yeah.
and that it didn't turn out as we wanted it. But do you see us stopping? No.
No.
So, so we're
Do you
trying
see
to,
do you see us
yeah,
running to other directions? Yes.
yeah, so we're trying to redefine it to see how it's going to work, what the best way would be with it, and where we made a mistake, what we did wrong that maybe we can fix in the future. So developing that growth mindset allows us to not only see the small wins, but also see that moving part. It's like it's always ups and downs. And so it's just a matter of
Mm,
how we approach it. And then another
yes.
thing I wanted to add to this is redefine success because often we tend to think of success as, like you said, revenue or maybe a big house or financial stability so I don't have to do anything for the rest of my life. And if that's your internal desire, great. But if it's not, that's not what your success needs to be. So what I would say is look within and try to figure out for yourself what it means
Mm.
for you to be successful. Because success for some people is having a steady business that it runs in the background, or I invest
Yeah.
a certain amount of time in it, but then I have time for family, I have time for friends, I travel,
Mm.
I don't have to be on call 24/7. We all have different versions of what success means for us.
Yes.
And I think it's really important. You mentioned it, stop comparing yourself to others. It's a part of it. Clearly, we want to see what others are doing. If there's something that somebody does that is
Mm.
doable, achievable, and we want to apply it, fine, great. But don't expect it to work exactly the same as it does for that other person, because it's rarely can we just take a recipe and put it in and it just blooms our business as it does others. We all have to adjust a little bit. The best comparison you can do, though, is you to you. So where were you 6 months ago? Where were you a year
Yes.
ago? Where was your business a year ago? And so on. So I would say that's a way to deal with stress in a nutshell. What you said is look at your small wins and acknowledge your daily progress pretty much. Redefine success. So make sure you define what success means for you as a person, as a business person. And also try to develop that growth mindset. Think of what you're learning from everything that you're doing. And
Mm.
just a tiny addition to it, mind mind your mental and physical health because that has a huge effect to how you deal with stress. If you're physically active, stress is going to come at a lower cost because your body's processing it faster or more often. If you're investing in maybe therapy or you have a mentor or coach, it doesn't matter. That helps you with the mental and emotional health. So those are also really important when dealing with stress and success.
Yes. 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 I agree with everything you said. I was thinking to pause myself and don't say anything else because with all the questions we have, I think this live will be, yeah, huge. So I said I was having this pause and loading phase because I was also reading comments, but I was also thinking we need to go to the next one. And I think
Yes, let's do it.
that one was really, really good and deep question. And I think as entrepreneurs, but generally as humans, we always want more success, but also stress for our success in,
Yeah, yeah,
in
absolutely.
and
All the time.
and and it's just such a normal thing. And I think we are, let's say, you know, our judges sometimes, most
Mm,
of the times.
mm. Well, yeah, are probably the biggest critics that
Yes.
we have. Yeah. Okay,
Um,
what's next?
Back to okay, second one. How can I set boundaries between work and professional life when I run my own business from home? Hmm, you go.
I go? Okay.
Yes.
The easiest and the first thing that I would say is uh, have a designated work area. If
Mm.
that's a separate room, that's great. If you have a separate room that can be your office, wonderful. If not, like for me, I have a desk and it's my desktop and my computer. So it's a little area in my living room where it's my designated work area. And I don't do work outside of it. And so
Mm,
that helps me. So I know when I sit at this desk, I know it's work time. And when
yes.
I'm not working, I'm not at it. And if I have to do something on my computer, I just do it somewhere else
Mm,
that's not related to work. So that it's a simple, both physical and mental boundary. So you're sh I guess shielding a space. You're creating a
mm,
physical space that's your office, so to speak. And then you can change your clothes, or you can put on
Mm,
different clothes when you're working, or you can have like a song that you play when you're done working, something like that that's going to signify that you're done with work. And you
yes.
can come back to it later on. That's totally fine. But there should be something that says, okay, now you're off. So it's the simplest thing to do that can help you with that boundary. So that's where I would start. And then I'll let you chip in, and then maybe
Mm,
we can add something else to it.
yes. On this stage, I want to also say thank you to everyone that is commenting and showing the love. And I'm so excited that you're here. I'm not just saying that, but I'm just excited that you're here. Um, no, I have. There's so much to say actually on the boundaries, and I think it's when it initially happens that we need to set the boundaries. We at first when we go from employee to, and it's also we see that when it was COVID and we wanted to be with our pajamas and and working like comfy, and then we wanted to change clothes and be put something else because it also affect our confidence, not feeling confident with the clothes we were wearing. So I think the
Mhm.
clothes you said is really important, and also kind of having a space. I'm someone that I love changes, and sometimes I also combine it with my productivity. There are some days when, usually the end of the week, that I feel that I'm not so productive, that it's not, I'm gonna say, related to the question, that I go to and work to a coffee shop, but it also kind of affects our productivity and the boundaries, that you understand that being a business owner, you can take your business whenever you want. So I feel like when I am low capacity of productivity and there, things I need to get done and want to get done, I go outside to also, because also I'm someone that I love being outside and socialize. But usually I work from home in my office, and I agree with everything you said. And it's so important also to have a space that you want to be in, because I also see that, and I have been, there's something that this topic specifically is something that I have been working with my clients, that they are working on an office that they are not motivated to go, and sometimes that is costing their productivity,
Oh, for
because
sure.
yeah, because they either they're boxes in the office. And honestly, this is something that I'm dealing right now, because I want to sell one of my business, and I see I see some boxes here, and I want to, it pushes me to find the ways to kind of close that chapter. And
Mhm.
it's all about creating the environment for you to be productive.
Agreed. I would add one thing though, because we're talking about physical space, but also mental space in a way.
Mm,
One thing that I would also like to add is think of time blocking, scheduling, because, as we're employees, we have working hours. And it's usually 9 to 5, or if you're working second shift, it's, night or evening times, whatever it is. But there's a set schedule. As a business owner, we often don't have that, at least not in the
mm,
beginning. Once your business grows and develops, you can cut down your hours, or you can
yes.
have a more designated
Mhm.
hourly space. So if you can try and have a schedule, some kind of working hours as much as
Yes.
possible, that is going to help as well. So it'll allow you to create that space between now I'm working, now I'm not working. And even if it's just 2, 3 hours in between, like when I have sessions, sometimes I have sessions in the morning and then again in the afternoon. And that's
Mm,
fine. I've accepted that pace. But then I know that maybe from 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. I have no work to do. And so that's my time off. And
mm,
that allows me to do things for myself. So those are some of the easy tips that I would say: scheduling, creating a space. Yeah, even finding a space that's more appealing, like a coffee shop or a
yes.
co-working space that you can go to once in a while just to change the environment and the surrounding. That those are all things that can be beneficial. If
Yes.
we're talking about mental boundaries, I think it's a little bit deeper topic that, we'd love to chat with you maybe in person or something like that, or one-on-one, but it would be a long, long answer here.
Yes.
All
Okay.
right, Christina, shoot, what's next?
How can I avoid burnout while my business is growing?
It's a great question.
Yes.
Uh, I'm and I may be mistaken, but I think we all have to go through it at least once.
Mm.
Um, the severity of it may depend. So there
Mm,
are some things that you can see, like the signs that you're about to burn out. Um, but the best thing that I can say is physical activity.
mm,
You and you time. Those are two things that are really important because what happens when things get rough or you get caught in your business, the first thing that goes out is me time.
you. Is you.
So anything that is dedicated to us is like, yeah, I'll deal with that later. I'll go to the workout tomorrow. I can see that friend next week. And I know because I've done that before. So it's easy to forego those things because they
Mm.
affect mostly you until you realize that they do affect your family as well. They affect your friends as
They
well.
affect everything.
Yeah. So the one way to avoid it or to try to avoid it is to have to have your non-negotiables that are related to you. So not your
Mm.
business, but you. What are your needs? Like if you like, I don't know, going to spa, getting a massage, make sure you get that once a month, if not more frequently. If you enjoy spending time with friends and family or socializing, make sure you have that in your life. If like for me, exercising is a non-negotiable, and I've had periods where I forgo it and I can feel it.
Mm.
So it's really, really important for us that in the midst of building our business, when things get rough, you have a gazillion things to do, and you feel like the more you do, the more there is to do. We need to have, but isn't it right? Like I feel that even now, I feel it sometimes, and those are the moments when I say, okay, I need to put on my clothes and I need to go and run, or I need
Mm.
to go and exercise. I need my time because I'm not being productive. And if I'm not being productive, I'm just, going in circles and being busy,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
So I think my best advice would be mind your physical and mental health, and that is going to help you prevent burnout. So,
Mm.
watch out for a couple of days in a row, long hours. If you're doing 3, 4 days of long hours, slow down.
Yes.
Make sure you get a weekend off, or you do maybe an hour or two on the weekend if you have to.
Mm.
Um, if you notice that you're feeling frustrated with simple things, slow down.
Mm.
Question why you're feeling frustrated because these are all small signs that you're entering burnout. If you feel snappy with friends or family and you don't really know why, question it because it might be that you're burning out, right?
Mm.
So
Yes.
these are some of the small things that you can notice. The changes in behavior that are maybe atypical for you. You don't usually do that. Or, all of a sudden you don't want to see anybody. You just want to be alone, and that's
Mm.
not your typical thing. That would be a sign that something's happening and you might want to stop and reflect. So if you're journaling, that's great. That's a great space to do that. If you're not much of a journaling person, then be mindful and aware
Mm.
of what you do and how you behave because those are the first signs that you're not really enjoying what you do and you're forcing yourself to do it.
Mm. Great one. I was gonna say, um, balance and combination of several things, like have boundaries.
Mm,
First of all, personal boundaries. Like, you said it earlier about the hours you work. Like, start with the 8 hours, then, see if the next day you went to from the 8 to 12. I mean, giving you examples. The next day, take it easy and not to be so, overworking. And have a balance, and it's something that I really talk about a lot here is, and I always say that balance is not having 50-50 life and business. It's kind of create the dance between of these two, and knowing that now business is on, let's say, but tomorrow life will be on. So kind of having that balance between of them. Self-care, yes, indeed. Scheduling and blocking the time, because we all, when we are busy and we are saying, I'm gonna go tomorrow to the gym, and something happens tomorrow and you never go, and you never go.
Mhm.
And so block things in your calendar and also kind of take care of you, boundaries, balance, and and know that when time is for what and what is not. Sometimes we feel also the pressure of be doing. It's actually the confusion of being busy means we are productive and it's growth. You can be super efficient, and of course, using and leveraging technology and AI, we are in this era now. So you can be extremely efficient and
Mhm.
save tons of time, delegate stuff, be more organized, and the work of 2 hours can be done in like I was gonna say 10 minutes. I really believe that it can be in 10 minutes sometimes, but I also acknowledge your capacity. Like I know for a fact, and I share it multiple times, that Mondays are not my productive day. Usually weekends are so busy. We are going to trips. We are, spending time with my family. So I know that Mondays, usually I don't have any sessions, and if I have, it's gonna be either one or two, and really rare. And I know that I've gotta, gotta catch up with everything that I left behind and things like that. So I'm not in my productive era. Either that I'm gonna go either to a coffee shop if I want to be productive, but I take it easy. And pushing myself to finish things on Monday, it's not realistic. But on Thursday, oh my God, I'm on fire. I'm a productive ball. So I know that what I was gonna be pushing on Monday to be finished can be done in faster than if. So also acknowledging our capacity is and being efficient, I was gonna say.
Agreed. Agreed. I would also say it's okay if
Hmm.
you don't do it
Yes.
because we're not machines.
Yeah, of
And
course.
I can speak from my personal experience. I love my workouts and I make it a point to go, but sometimes I do skip it. Sometimes I do schedule something instead of
Mm.
that, even though I know that's not what I want to do.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do work weekends, even though I don't want to do that. And it's okay because what I'm telling myself is, all right, you're going to do this today, but
Mm.
maybe not tomorrow. Or this happened now, so how can you improve for the next time? How did you feel about it? Did you really have to do it or did you choose to do it? So it's okay if we don't respect our boundaries at all times,
Mm.
but we need to be aware that we're doing it and we need to understand why.
Yes. Yes. Okay. I was reading the next question because I
Hmm.
was also acknowledging the time.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, I think we kind of understand it, but let's give a one sentence or two. How do you set boundaries and not feel guilty?
You don't. There's, it's just you don't.
As simple as
There's
that. Your
there's
own
always going to
problems are
be
solved now.
go ahead, set boundaries and feel guilty. No, but there's always going to be that feeling of discomfort.
Mm,
But the more we practice them, the more we practice setting boundaries and respecting them, because I think setting boundaries is not that big of an issue. Respecting them is,
mm,
because once you say it, you have to keep honoring
yes,
it. Otherwise,
yes.
it doesn't work. Because if we step on our boundaries, what stops other people to do
Mm,
that, right? So it's okay to not feel super excited about saying
mm,
no to somebody or something, to putting yourself first or whatever the boundary is that you want to set. It's
yes.
okay that you're feeling uncomfortable. It does get better with time, but the feeling never goes away. That's what I would say because we're humans and of course you don't want to see
Mm,
the other person uncomfortable.
I'm gonna give it a little bit of different answer to this because I have a devoted, let's say, thing around it, boundaries. I have a big passion around boundaries, and I feel like our boundaries are our terms and conditions. And I totally agree with you. We usually feel that way, but it needs practice. It needs practice, and we practice, and it's everything like everything we grow personally. Our confidence and everything needs practice, and it's something,
Hmm.
and this is our skills that are built, and everything like we weren't born and knew everything, and voila, this is it. But we were building our skills, we are growing, we are learning, we are evolving. And this is actually what's going on also with boundaries. But what makes, in my perspective, easier is the self-love, is understanding why you need to put these boundaries and to who you're saying yes when you're putting these boundaries. Like why I'm saying um, no to this, and this is a straightforward yes to you. And sometimes we also, it's not the pressure of saying the boundaries, it's the pressure of you know you we let people know us as a certain figure, and we are now changing that figure into their eyes, but it's not about us, it's about them to accept the new you. So it's always about you. So I think that's one of the things that really helped me acknowledging and say, this is it.
Yeah. Yeah. So what you're saying is think about what you're accepting instead of thinking about what you're declining.
I was gonna say in general, acknowledge that our boundaries is yes to ourselves, and
Mm.
it's nothing to do with others. It's everything around us, and it's not selfish. It's a self-love act.
Yeah,
That's
it's a good perspective.
that's actually. And you know what? If we are in a world that everything is around, let's say, terms, in order to know how to evolve all structures and things like that. And again, our boundaries, our terms and conditions, our structures on how what is, and also our personal boundaries. I'm gonna be working that amount of times. I know my boundaries on my capacity. So it's
Right.
it's not always about others. Everything starts and ends from us. And
Mm. I
acknowledging
agree.
acknowledging we
There's
are the
some
starting point. Yes, sorry, go ahead.
No, 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 that's okay. There's something you mentioned. I just wanted to emphasize it and we can
Mm,
move on. It's okay for your boundaries to change. As
yes.
we change, they'll probably change, and that's fine. Just because today you're not feeling like that, maybe a year from
Mm,
today you're going to feel different. And it's okay. We just need to communicate it. So
mm,
that's all I wanted to add. But we
great.
can go to the next one.
Yes, sorry, I'm reading comments, reading the questions. So yeah, okay.
Thank you for being such a good
Oh,
multitasker.
you see me? Okay. I think we answered that one. Why to set boundaries?
Okay. Um, well, actually, I
Mhm.
had my entrepreneurs group yesterday with a friend, the therapist, and here's something she said that really got me thinking. She said, our boundaries exist in contact.
Mm.
So there's no boundary if there's not another thing or another person on the other end,
Hmm.
right?
Cool.
And so it's an I mean, it makes sense, right? But you
Yes.
just don't think about it that way. So we set boundaries when we enter contact, be it with another person or something like a work task or a trip or whatever it is. And so boundaries are there to help protect us, but also to communicate our needs and expectations with the other person or
Mm.
another thing. So that's what I would say. That's why we set boundaries.
Yes. Nice. I think this statement needs a little bit. time to sink in.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I was processing it the entire night, so I'm a little bit ahead of you.
I will report back tomorrow.
Sounds good.
Okay, so next one is why sometimes slash often we take time to rest and feel guilt for it, or as of there is still something else to do. I was unemployed for a couple of months recently, and I realized I do not know how to just do nothing. I'm laughing because this is something that I see frequently, especially when we go from employees to entrepreneurs and we need to adjust ourselves to the schedule, the time frame, and things like that. But also is this belief that we need to be busy. I said it earlier, to be productive.
Mm,
And it's all about being efficient. And I think specifically this question is all about beliefs. And when you change things, I mean, you were an employee and went unemployed. So you need to adjust to this role of you and figure it out your new self. So we need the time to explore, to feel the emotions and then go, okay, now we are acknowledging this. Let's do the action. I think sometimes, and as you said about burnout earlier, it's necessary to take the emotions in, the beliefs, acknowledge them, and take it from there.
mm, I agree. I think I notice it too, and I see it in myself sometimes. So I
Mm,
completely understand the question, especially the part where I have a desperate need
mm,
for time off, and then I take time off, and I feel like I should be working.
yes.
Um, and I was actually reading a book. I think it's called The Practice of Groundedness or Become Grounded or something
Mm,
like that. And the author, also a fellow coach, he was sharing that that's something he ran into with his clients a lot that need
mm,
to rest, but then when they rest, they feel restless. So it's that kind of vicious circle of I should
mm,
be doing something, but when I'm doing something, it's too much and I need to rest.
yeah.
And I haven't completed it yet, but where I stopped, what he was saying is that we need to remember what it feels like to be grounded,
Mm,
right? So to have the roots, to feel our roots, and to be okay, to just experience what we experience. I'm bored. Okay, fine, you're bored. We were bored as kids a lot. That's when we got creative. That's when we got to play. That's when we got to do things, right? Sometimes not smart things,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
this is our space to
Yes.
explore, and our brain needs that time. Our brain needs us inactive, so to speak, so you're not
Yes.
working actively, so that it can process things. Many authors would like have cabins in the middle of nowhere if they want to go and focus and do their deep work,
Mm,
because we need that idle time. And just so you know, just because you're unemployed and you don't go to work, it doesn't necessarily mean you don't do anything.
yeah. I was seeing a video the other day and saying being unemployed and looking for a work is a full-time job. And
Agreed.
and also I wanted to say about you said about the kids being bored. Fun fact, I saw a video from a psychologist this week and she was saying that we need to let our kids be bored. They need that also as to explore that emotion and be creative and explore how what that means and not giving them all the time the solution. And it made me actually think we all the time as humans jump to find the solution about everything. And the unknown feels so scary. And sometimes we just need to observe and acknowledge the fact and leave it and then deal with it, but not leave it
Yeah.
too much. Everything with a
Yeah.
boundary and balance.
Agreed. Yes, I agree. And it's that the reason we're feeling restless is that hustle culture that we're in right now. you go, 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 go. You have to always
Oh,
do
yeah.
something. You have to perform at 200%. It has to be amazing. And if,
Mm,
God forbid somebody sees you sitting down and appear like you're not doing anything, it's, oh, you're slacking, right? So I think that's partly what draws us into this mouse wheel where we're continuously running and trying to catch up with something. But what are we trying to catch up with?
you know what? It's not related actually to the question. It's related part of it, but what I wanted to say is that there is so much information out there. We compare ourselves with others. Like, because we're talking mainly about business owners. If you're a business owner, and but also employees, but mostly business owners, you want to build your business. So you go on social media, try to build your brand. And there is one there going, know your brand, know your do this, don't do that. And the other one is doing exactly the opposite. So it's a lot of information. And what I always say, find your information, find your way. We are so unique and we need to embrace that. There are so many ways to grow your business because it's your business. I'm not saying do
Mm,
random things around, be efficient, have
yeah.
a plan and a strategy, but don't be overwhelmed with all this information. Do the X information you feel aligned, try it. If it fails, it fails. Great. You have another learning in your agenda and another growth. And, it's all about trial and error and acknowledging that you are you. And let's say there are tons of coaches out there. What you are doing and what I'm doing has so many difference, even in the approach, even in the communication, even in the
Yeah.
style. But we kind of do similar things. And we are collaborating so well. We are creating all these things. It's not about comparison. It's about, admiring the other, learning from each other, and gaining the growth, but not put us in a shell of protection and look at her, she's better than me, and I'm not gonna be like her, all the things. Just, yes, there's a lot of information out there, but leverage it in your good,
Mm,
benefit. I was gonna say. I
mm.
don't know. I felt the need to share that today.
No, no, it's good. It's good. Going back to the question though, just to wrap it up, is it's okay to feel idle. Just acknowledge that feeling. Be okay. Be restless for a little bit, and stay in that, just so you can
Mm,
process it, and then start thinking, okay, well, what am I getting with this? What do I need
mm,
from this? What do I actually want to do? What is my
yes.
desire now? What is my need now? So that can be something, but we need to acknowledge and internalize all of these emotions, not just happiness and being super successful and productive, but also being sad, being disappointed, being bored,
Mm,
because good things can come out of that. But like you said, with a balance of not staying
yes.
too long in or being too long out.
Yes.
All
I was
right.
gonna say that this is our last question, and honestly, I don't
Wow,
believe we answer
we're
all
super
of this.
efficient.
Yes, I don't believe we answer all these questions in that amount of time. Not that the life
Well,
was
you gave us
short,
a pace, girl, so we had to follow it.
but look at us. Okay, so last question from the questions you send us. So this is your time now to send any questions you have all the time earlier. But I mean, last call if you want to send us the question because there's also a delay in the live. So in order to be able to catch the question before we close the live. So last one, how to disconnect from work? My question is about establishing work-life balance in a new job and manage various task activities in free time.
Hmm. If I can share,
Yes,
um,
I
when
think
I
my
was,
look was, my eyes were direct
sorry,
at you.
this is you. Um, when I was an employee,
Mm,
it was really, really important for me not to take work home. That was my non-negotiable. So I
not
had
you?
not to take work home.
Oh, okay. Got it.
as in um, my phone didn't have any of the business apps, like no
Mm,
Slack, no
mm,
business email, nothing like that. It had my things. So
yes.
my phone is my personal thing.
Yeah.
And that helps me disconnect.
Hmm.
So I would go home and I don't check the email until the next day. That nobody's messaging me. I'm not responding the
And
next
me.
day. Right. So my time off work is my time off work. That
Hmm.
was one way. And plus, that was the time where we still went to offices. Remote work wasn't as popular. So I also had that moment of walking home that helped me
To.
process and disconnect. Right.
Mm,
When we had during COVID, when I worked from home, um, that thing was I would still wake up early as if I was going to work, right? So walking to work. So I would wake up early, I'd have my routines, and then I'd sit at the desk at home during COVID, right? But I would continue those routines. So after the working hours, I would just
mm,
stop and I would remove myself from that and I'd do everything, whatever else I could, maybe read, watch TV, whatever it is, at that time when you're locked down, there's not much you can do. But I
yeah.
did read a lot. I was trying to, educate myself, but I didn't do any work. So
Mm,
those are some of the things that helped me at work during the office hours. What I would be doing is, for example, because I was a manager and I led different teams, there were times when I did feel overwhelmed or I had to finish some of my tasks so I couldn't support the team. Then I would say, okay, because I'm so busy today, this is the time frame where you can come to me with questions, unless something is urgent. And urgent means um, we're losing money because I led a marketing team. It was the campaign is,
mm,
exploding, or there's something crazy wrong with the data. That's when you can interrupt me. And I was in the office with all my team, so they could see me working. It's not like I was in a separate building or a separate space, but I would ask them to honor my time. So that helped. Like I'm available from, I don't know, 10 to 2, 10 to 11 or 10 to 12. This is where you can interrupt me and come to me. Or I would say, look, you guys, for the next 2 hours, can you please just not come to me? I have to wrap this up. And
mm.
so communicating that, and if you're not a leader, it doesn't matter. You can still say
I
to
was
your
gonna ask
team,
this.
it doesn't really matter. I mean, because you can still say, look, I'm happy to help. Can we meet in 2 hours? Or can we address this later in the day? Or, in the morning, you can always say, hey, this is going to be a crazy day for me. If you don't see me responding, it's just because I'm super busy today. And that's totally fine. So these are some of the things that helped me. So I would either communicate my boundaries and ask them to honor it if and when possible. And if I feel like they're continuously stepping on them, I would push back. So I'd say,
Mm,
okay, hang on, we agreed to do X, or remember I told you this, I'll address it
mm,
later. So whenever, of course, depending on the situation, sometimes you can't do that, but this is something that worked for me. And then that physical space of physically walking home from work, not having, if you have two computers, like if you have your laptop, then that's your laptop, it's not work laptop.
mm,
If you have a phone, it's your phone. You don't have to have the apps on your phone. If your work requires that, remember this is something you agreed to. So if you feel the need to change it, you have to communicate that. But
mm.
these are some of the things that helped me
Yes.
um, have that distinction and have it separate. And then I always came to work ready to work because I had my after work hours to rest and relax. And, I was able to socialize because I was very clear with my
Yes.
boundaries. And I highly encouraged my team not to do overtime. Um, the only time overtime was okay is because something is like super urgent or there's a crazy deadline we need to meet or something like that. But if you're continuously working overtime, then you're either very bad at time management and organization, or you're having too much work on your plate and you need to talk to your supervisor, manager, boss, whoever, depending on what level you're on. If you're self-employed, you need to talk to yourself and see if there's
Yes.
something you can delegate. So, when we feel overwhelmed with the tasks, it's either our skills, our time management, our organization, or it's the workload that's been given to us. and we need to
Mm.
discuss it. I hope this is helpful. Any
Yes,
tips from you from your
I was
employee age?
I was thinking about it, and it's so funny you mention it. When I started my career, and it was basically at the beginning of a crisis year, and I was because the first year was honestly a struggle to kind of define, first of all, what designer I wanted to be. So I started, more digitally, and then I realized I want the agency career. So I came back to Nicosia to, seek opportunities in agencies. And when I started, I was extremely overworking, and it was also common to agencies, to
Hmm.
creative agencies. And then I was feeling, when I realized that I'm all the time work, 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 and not personal life at all. And specifically when I met my partner, I realized that I needed to change this thing. And it's what I said earlier. There was such a huge resistance also from my end, but also from others, to accept that I was leaving office earlier. And I
Right.
started, there was times that I was at the office 10 o'clock at night. One other time when 12. And, it was huge, huge, the hours that I was working extra. And all to deserve to not to deserve to I lost the work, to prove my worth. And
Mm,
the only one that I needed to prove my worth was me, because when you prove your worth to yourself, you have the confidence, and the confidence is something like a mirror, it shows. So
right.
when years went by, and I was, starting putting these boundaries, and I was seeing that there was, you know, this need to everyone understand the new me. Um, Another agency, asked me to, we went to another agency, the normal stuff. And I was clear with my boundaries from the beginning that I was going to
Mm,
be leaving earlier. I love traveling, and I was asking them, is that okay? And I was a senior already. So I had the confidence to do that. Sometimes it's the confidence that is lacking us to put the boundaries. And and when I went to the office, there was a colleague there that was sending the email, and without the email kind of arrived, she was in my office to say to me that she sent me an email and if I have read it. And I said to her, "Thank you for all the information you sent it to me. I will check it when I come, and I will let you know." And that happened, I think, for a couple of times. She was continuing doing the same thing when repeatedly. I was politely saying that, and then she stopped. She knew that I'm gonna read her email, obviously, and stopped coming to my office immediately after sending the email.
yeah. Yeah, it's really important. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say the other colleague, every time that was this happening to him, and she was doing the same to him, it wasn't personal. She was getting out of his body from the anger. And it's all about how we not accept the situation, but how we deal with the situation. And it's
Mm,
also about perspective. And she, at a certain point, stopped doing that to me. But, I was saying, okay, I knew her need to, confirm that I, received that, but it doesn't need to be my stress, my pressure, and things like that. So it's always being kind and express your boundaries in a most, clear way,
yeah.
I will
And
say.
I think the question, the person said it was a new role.
Mm,
Do I remember that right?
yeah, we
Can you
did.
check again? I think
Yes.
I think it was she mentioned or he mentioned something that it was a new role, but maybe it was me reading into it.
Yeah, to new role.
New
But
role.
again,
Okay.
it's also based on the last example
Oh,
that I gave.
it is. All I wanted to say is if you're because you're new, if you're uncomfortable sharing all of the boundaries at once, that's okay. You just need to start communicating. And
Hmm.
You
Mm,
also need to understand what's essential for the work. So, all the tasks that you have, can you slowly start to understand what's really important, what's not important, what's urgent? And
mm,
if you can't, is there somebody you can talk to about this? Can you
mm.
ask them what your
Yes.
priorities are if you don't feel like you're ready to set your own priorities because it's a new role? Also, you can slowly start communicating, like Christina said, you don't have to be rude to set your
Mm,
boundaries. Our boundaries can be stated in a very nice way. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. I am working on something else. I will look into it as soon as I'm done, or can you check back in 2 hours? I will have read it by that time and I will discuss it
mm.
with you. Or there are so many nice ways to state our boundaries. There's so many nice ways for us to say,
Yeah.
this is what I'm comfortable with, and I
Yes.
ask you to honor that. So even if it's a new role, think about what it is that's important for you, what it is that's stressing you out, and why. And so that way you'll start
Yes.
understanding, okay, well, why does this bother me? And once you have an answer to that, you'll be able to react to it. Otherwise, you're it's like shooting in the dark. You're trying to figure out how to deal with it, but you don't really know why it's bothering you in the first place. So that's where I would start. Just because the person mentioned it was a new role, I wanted to make sure that
Yes.
it applies regardless of whether you're a junior or medium or senior. You just need to maybe thread a bit more carefully if you're a junior, because you're just starting out, and I understand that you don't want to appear rude or you don't want to do the work or anything like that. So there's a way to communicate. We just need to understand what and why.
Yes, and I also wanted to emphasize, let's say, if in the case of new, it's even there. They are now learning you. So, be you.
Yeah,
And, you
yeah,
know,
yeah. Yeah, I think honestly, I think clear communication
yes,
regarding the whole topic, boundaries, stress, and how to balance things out, especially, we decided to do this topic because it's almost the end of the year and this is a
yes,
crazy time for everybody. Um, it's always this self-reflection, checking in with ourselves. And I know sometimes that seems hard because you don't have time to breathe, but sometimes we have to step back to move forward.
mm,
So, communicating with ourselves, with the others, and if you feel stressed out, try to stop because the
yes,
only thing that's going to happen is there's going to be more stress added to it. So, if you notice that you're frustrated, you're stressed, you go to work, be it your own business or as an employee, but you go to work feeling dissatisfied, feeling like you'd rather be in
mm,
bed. There's something that's going on, and you need to address that. If you
yes.
push it aside until New Year comes, or until vacation comes, or until the weekend, sometimes that's going to be too late.
Yeah, and you know how much I love metaphors. We are like a capacity of, is it like a glass and we are filling up, or either it's a backpack, you choose your metaphor, you have a certain capacity. You cannot, keep pulling things either in your glass, either in your backpack. Either it's gonna be too heavy or there is gonna be, fill up and,
It'll
start
overflow. Yeah,
overflow.
yeah.
So, understand that you have a certain capacity, acknowledge that, and, be kind to yourself, I was gonna say. And how you want to close this life? What is one thing you want to say to close this life?
Oh, I don't. I haven't really thought much about that, but I think one reminder that I want to say is whatever you're going through, you're probably not the only one. And if
Yes.
you feel like you can't do it on your own, then seek help. It can be a friend, it can be family, or it can be professional, like a mentor, a boss, a therapist, a coach. It doesn't really matter. But if you
Mm,
feel like it's too much and you've tried a lot and nothing works, or if you worry that something is going to happen, just find somebody to share it with. And once we verbalize things that are in our mind, they become smaller than they seem
mm,
in our mind. So I think that that's what I would say as a
yes.
closing. Everybody's, we're all trying to wrap up the year strong.
Yes.
But I think from today, after this live,
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
we're a little bit smarter about it.
Yes. I wanted to say that I have this conversation that we have the tools that our parents or our grandfathers didn't have. So I think we need to leverage them and use it for our growth, for our well-being, and totally agree with everything you said. There's, as I said earlier, there's tons of information out there, but there's information for your benefit and to use it to be, you know, on your best version. There's so many ways to be, great. So let's
Yeah,
do it today.
agreed, agreed. Start today. Yeah,
Yes,
agreed. And
start
delegate,
today.
delegate as much as you can. We didn't talk about delegating at all, but
Oh,
it's such a
yes,
great
you're right.
way to offload some work.
In another life.
Yeah. Sounds good. But
In
thank you,
another life.
Christina, so much. And thanks everybody who's watching. I don't have
Yeah.
access to comments, but I'm sure people were
Yes.
very nice.
Yes, it was such an active live. I'm so grateful for this. You know how I get emotional with this when it's active. So thank you so much for being here. These lives are such a really, important thing for us. We really enjoy them. We are doing it for with all our passion. So thank you for being here and stay tuned for the next one. And yeah, so feel free to send us any topics you want us specifically to discuss.
Yeah.
And yeah, take it easy. It's the end of the year, not the end of the world. We
Oh,
will
I
be.
love that. Yes.
And yeah, we are here for you if you need an additional support, both Snezana and me. We are really
Absolutely.
glad to help you in any way. And yeah, have a winning day.
Yes. Thank you, Christina, so much. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you.